Next on the Sam Sorbo Show, actor Kirk Cameron talks about the adventures of home education in his own family and also in this new documentary, The Homeschool Awakening. He also talks about the difference between a boarding house and a family. Stay tuned. You're going to love this. Hi, this is Sam Sorbo. I want to invite you all to join me at the Playbook for Home Learning Conference put on by Underground Education. There's a new community that started online called the Underground Education Community. You can find it by going to samsorbo.com. You can also find all the information about the conference, about how to approach education with your kids. Times are hard for parents right now. There's a lot going on in the schools that we don't like. But I'll tell you something, home learning is easier than you ever thought it could be and more fun than you ever imagined. So join me at the Your Playbook for Home Learning Conference this June 24-25 in Port St. Lucie, Florida. And we're going to have a great time. Go to samsorbo.com for more information on everything. I'll see you there. You've heard me talk about Mike Lindell, who I adore. You know, he's the inventor of MyPillow, and how that pillow has given me a good night's sleep that I need. In fact, I never knew how good I could sleep before I had my MyPillow. Mike continues to roll out new offers on his products, and the latest one is on his towel sets. Towels aren't something you think about often. I never knew what I was missing until I tried the towels just last year. Now, you've all helped build MyPillow into the incredible company that it is today, and you've trusted Mike Lindell to give you a great night's sleep. Mike's now changing the game with his 6-piece towel set. The set's made with USA cotton, making it extremely absorbent, and yet still providing that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 2 bath, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths, typically retailing for $109.99. But for a limited time, you can get this set for the low price of $39.99. And that's using promo code SAMSORBO. So remember, all MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee. You just go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials to get this insanely low price of $39.99 on the towel set. You'll find deep discounts on other MyPillow products as well. So enter promo code SAMSORBO, or you can call 800-625-5983. That's 800-625-5983 for these great radio specials. This is the Sam Sorbo Show. My guest now is famous actor Kirk Cameron, but he's starring in a new documentary, which is called The Homeschool Awakening. And he's talking about this adventure of home education. And so I thought, well, that's perfect because that's my whole dealio. That's really my mission in life. So Kirk, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Great to talk with you.
All right. So it's called The Homeschool Awakening. So you aren't the only person who's noticed that homeschooling has more than doubled since they did the COVID lockdowns. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's what we're hearing, right? The statistics are pretty amazing. Parents got a front row seat during the pandemic lockdowns of public schools and churches and businesses. And out here in California, and we felt like we were out in house arrest. But one of the positives that came out of that was parents were suddenly, they were getting a peek behind the curtain as they looked at their kids' laptops and figured that, wow, my kids are learning stuff that we don't believe. I mean, they're learning bad stuff. They're learning critical race theory. They're learning to hate America. They're learning gender queer theory, and they get to decide whether or not they want to be a boy or a girl, choose their pronouns. And they're going, we don't want to do this. So when the schools opened back up, many of them kept their kids out, and they're looking for options. And that's what the Homeschool Awakening is all about, this parent-led awakening resulting in parents taking back their kids' education.
And in the movie, you talk about this. This is a big challenge for a lot of parents out there. So I mean, kudos to the parents who saw the problem and then said, well, I can't put my kids back there, but they're really a little bit at a loss as to what to do now, right?
Yeah. And I don't blame them. I mean, when we first started homeschooling our 6 children, they just finished 6th grade. We weren't crazy about the options for middle school. And I never considered homeschooling because I had this impression that you had to be kind of part of this weird fringe cult group, like maybe you had to be a Quaker, you probably had a head covering, and you churned your own butter. And I'm like, that I make movies, I live in Los Angeles, and I care about education, and I'm not a math teacher. But then I had a friend who began to explain, no, you drank the Kool-Aid, you don't understand. This is a whole community of people who care deeply about education, and their children are being socialized and educated in a way that's producing far superior human beings when done diligently. And you're able to pass on your values and your faith and socialize them in a way that makes them out of the box initiative takers, kids who can have conversations with adults, kids debating issues of politics and worldview and religion at young ages because they're exposed to all of these things, and the world becomes their classroom. And we dove in. It was scary, but it was the best thing we ever did for our family.
I didn't realize that you had allowed your oldest to go all the way through 6th grade. I started right after 2nd grade with my oldest. And so, and you sell it really nicely. Like he convinced you that all of these other things were possible, but you also mentioned there was a great deal of trepidation. First of all, did you take all 6 of your kids, and did you know what you were doing?
No, I didn't. Well, yes, I knew what I wasn't going to do with my kids, and that was put them someplace for 40 hours a week where they were going to be taught and discipled to think that God didn't exist and learn values that were going to sabotage their chances for success in marriage and family, and really undermine the principles of our country. Like, I wasn't going to do that, but I didn't know what else to do until we dove in. And yes, we pulled all 6 of our kids out of the system. We homeschooled all of them for at least several years. A couple of our kids actually went back to a private Christian school for the last couple of years of high school for a couple of reasons. But the point is, once we realize that we're in charge of our kids and we're the ones that God has given them to shape their hearts and their minds, that just changed everything, right? It wasn't just, well, just plug them into the system because that's what you do. Well, no, we're now seeing that that's why we're in the mess that we're in. And I think we're at a critical moment. I think we need another great awakening in this country. And I think one of the best hopes we have for righting the ship is coming through the homeschool movement.
And that's why you did the movie, The Homeschool Awakening, which I should say is coming out as a Fathom event on, is it the 13th and the 14th of this month?
Yeah, it's only in theaters, and it's only the 13th and 14th. That's Monday and Tuesday. And I'm excited to say that all the theaters in my area are sold out. And I'm probably going to have to get a ticket to Top Gun and then just, make my way over to the Homeschool Awakening and stand in the back. But we want people to sell out these theaters, because we want to dispel the myths about homeschooling. We want to answer your questions. We want you to have hope, and we want you to see how millions of homeschool families are on a mission to put faith, family, and freedom back into learning. It's working, and it's very exciting.
So your oldest has to be out of college at this point, right?
Yes. So our oldest is 25. He's actually married, and our 3 oldest kids are married, and we've got 1 in college and 2 who are graduated, but they're kind of on their gap year adventure program right now. So 2 of them are in Switzerland right now. And my daughter, it's been an adventure since the 6th grade. And, learning and exploring the world just never ends.
I say that with home education, once you sort of get the hang of it, the training wheels come off, and you understand that the world is your oyster. The world is there to explore, and there's a great deal of freedom that comes along with that, wouldn't you say?
Oh man, so much freedom. Sam, you've just done such a phenomenal job of explaining this to people, and I know you were in Schoolhouse Rocked as well. another documentary
Yeah,
about
why
the
am I not in your movie? I don't understand.
well, Garrett and Yvette got to you first. And so we had to like, okay, great. That's awesome. So we got to get Alex Newman in there, and we got to get some other people who can help bring more and more information so that we've got this just smorgasbord of info about homeschooling. So I forgot what you just asked me.
Well, just this idea that
freedom.
you catch the freedom bug.
You do, right? So like you're not locked into this 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. schedule with homework 5 days a week, and you're trying to squeeze in family time on the weekends. You got family time whenever you want it, all day, every day. And if your kids are interested in, wanting to learn about building rockets, or they want to start their own online business, great. If they want to open up a bakery and start by learning how to cook in the kitchen, all of those things are possible. And every one of them takes reading, writing, and arithmetic to accomplish. So isn't it cool to think that you can set your schedule, you can determine curriculum, you get to choose processes, lean into your kids' gifts and talents, and you're in a community of out-of-the-box thinkers, people who are creative, people who are qualified in subjects that you need help in, that love to make themselves available to be part of your educational journey for your kids.
It's kind of like in the community, people have discovered this great gift, this great opportunity, and they're so eager to share it with other people and to help other people along. And if you're not in the community yet, you think that you're just going out into the desert wilderness to wander, right?
Yeah, right. But you're not, you've kind of come to the promised land. Now, I don't want to make it sound like it's easy. It is not. It's one of the hardest things that you'll ever do. But so is marriage, right? I mean,
well, so is having kids in school, because you don't know the challenges that those kids are going to come home with information that you'd rather maybe they didn't have at the age of 10, or bullying issues, or they become the bully, or you've got problems with the teacher, or the teacher is the bully, or all of that stuff. It's not like, well, if I stick my kids in school, then I can just, throw away the key and forget about it. That's not the way it works. Parenting is challenging. The school part of it is not, is what I like to say.
Yeah. I like the way that you put that. I think it's a retraining of our own minds, right? And kind of saying, what is my goal with having kids? So many parents just haven't thought about those things because we're so busy, right? We're going to work, we're trying to pay the bills, we're trying to have a little me time, we're trying to get through this crazy pandemic and what's going on with our whole country anyway. How could I possibly take on something like homeschooling? Listen, the world gets simpler and your focus gets sharper when you get back to the basics of why did we have kids in the first place? And what is it that what's our goal? I want healthy, happy, well-adjusted kids who know who they are, they know who God is, and they're grateful and joyful, and they're making the world a better place. I can't think of a better way to do that than to just unplug from a system that doesn't really have your family's best interest in mind and decide what's best for you. So somebody once said this to me, Sam. They said, Kirk, if you take the first 6 months after you pull your kids out of the system and just do nothing but learn how to become a family again, learn how to just live life together again for 6 months, don't forget curriculum. Actually, that is your curriculum. Nobody knows how to be a family anymore. They're usually a bunch of disconnected people living in a boarding house, stressed out, arguing and fighting with each other. Just learn how to be a family. You'll catch up on the curriculum and everything else like lightning fast, because your kids will be happier, more well-adjusted. They're in an environment where people are actually getting along and you're learning together and they can actually flourish. And I found that to be the case.
Yeah, one of the things I talk about is doing family together. And so first of all, thank you so much for articulating that in just that manner. It was perfect. And when you put your hands on your head, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you have a light right behind you and it like, and it was so
It's like a light bulb moment, right? My light bulb moment. There it is. Oh, there it is again.
Okay, before I let you go, I want to mention, well, first of all, this movie, The Homeschool Awakening, is out on the 13th and the 14th of June in theaters only. Go to Fathom for your tickets and let's sell out the theaters.
I got a better link. Go to kirkcameron.com and there's a big picture of it. Just push on that.
There you go.
You can get your tickets.
Go to kirkcameron.com. And then the other thing that I want to tell people is if you have any desire to do something that's a little bit educational but fun with your kids, watch Kirk's documentary, Monumental. It is monumental. It is really tremendous. And I think I tell you every time I see you, because I never know if I've told you or not, but I probably told you several times now how great that movie is. And it's just great the work that you're doing. Your fireside chats on Facebook. Also, you can go to Facebook and follow Kirk there, unless they've taken you off. Have they taken you off yet?
No, not yet.
Surprising.
That's don't give them any ideas. I like those fireside chats.
Who knows if this will make it on YouTube eventually or not, All right, Kirk Cameron, thank you so much for joining me. This is the Sam Sorbo Show.